How much are you looking forward to the FA Trophy final?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a good occasion. I think obviously everything that's gone on in the past few weeks, it'll be a nice way to end the season with the lads on the pitch doing what they do best, and I think I'm just looking forward to watching us play. I think they, especially with what's gone on, they deserve the opportunity to walk out at Wembley and continue what they've done all season and sort of let the football be the last word of the day, hopefully.
What sort of impact has it had on the players then, and looking forward to the future, to next season?
Yeah, no, obviously extremely disappointed. You know, you can't pretend not to be. I think especially feeling that the momentum at the start of the season was geared towards finishing in the top 7, and then all the setbacks we had this year with change of staff, massive change of players, and then even the fixture list towards the end of the season, the lads just overcome everything that was put in front of them. So I'm extremely proud about that. However, the big thing, all we can do is control what we can control, and that's what we want to do going into Saturday, is to control what we can in terms of putting on a good performance, hopefully winning the game. But for me, I just want the lads to go and show why they finished in the top 6 or top 7 over the season, because they really did deserve that, and that's why I'm so gutted for them. So at least it's an opportunity to put that right and show obviously everyone watching why they finished the way they did.
But as an incentive for next season, that has now gone as it stands in terms of playoff football and promotion.
I'm not sure. I think it's more a case of getting things organised off the pitch to be able to get that. I think now we know the specifics around why we couldn't. I think that'll be addressed and be sorted now. And I think obviously the important thing is that we secured a really good squad for the rest of this year and also next season. You know, we worked really hard last summer to secure lads that we felt not just for this season but the season after, with the intention of finishing in the playoffs and trying to get promoted. Obviously, against the odds at the start of last season, considering the budget and everything. But in terms of the football, we was always confident we'd finish where we finished. And I think probably it's more a case of unfinished business as a squad and a management team, and that we want to project that into next season and try and take us one step further.
How confident are you that the same situation won't arise next season then?
I think, to be honest with you, that's probably out of our hands a little bit in terms of the footballing side. I think we just have to have confidence in the club, the community, the council, etc., all the parties involved to right or wrong, I would say, and allow some fantastic young human beings who've dedicated 10 months of their lives to an outcome. And I'd like to think that the emotional and the what it means to the community and everything the club's done, not just this season but the last 4 years, I think that's the thing that will be put right. And I have faith in the fact that everyone who is involved will do the right thing and we'll get it sorted.
Is everyone fit for Saturday, Rob, and have you picked your team yet?
We just, unfortunately, young Will Johnson, who's been on loan, has been fantastic, had a little setback in training, so he's had to go back to Fleetwood, so he won't be available. But other than that, I'd be right in saying everyone who's available will be available. And picking the team, no, not pick the team yet. Just we don't usually pick the team till Friday on a game, because I think training's so based on performance and intention in terms of the way we set up and how we're going to play. And you know, the lads need to understand that if they train well, it helps their chances of getting in the team. And I'm a big believer in that. You train properly, you play properly. So no, we'll have a discussion on the train and we'll have a chat Friday night. And the one thing I know is whoever we pick, you know, there'll be people, every single player deserves to play, but whoever we pick, we know they'll do us justice, and you know, they know their roles and responsibilities, and we'll just look forward to the occasion.
Your opponents obviously had 2 high-profile games. How have your preparations gone?
It's been long. Yeah, we just tried to manage the load, haven't we? In terms of the dates, obviously.
We try to get a balance between rest and preparation. We massively took into consideration the huge amount of load that the group had to go through in the last 10 days of the season, and also just to reflect our preparation and mentality for the game. We want to give the guys a bit of downtime to decompress, to reset, because we want them to enjoy the experience and enjoy the journey. It's the final game of the season. We want to go out in style, and we know we've got to do that by preparing the boys mentally and physically, tactically from a football point of view, but also we just want them to go and relish the game and what it represents for the group themselves, then the wider football club and the community. I think what me, Rob, Carl and the rest of the staff will take most pride in, and what we value the most, is that we go and attack the game and we do it our way regardless of the outcome, because we can't control that. Like Rob has mentioned before, we'll try and control the controllables, and one thing that that we can control is our mentality going into the game, that we're just going to enjoy it, relish it, and we're going to face it head on. Like our mantra has been this week, that we're going to attack a game of football that no team has ever attacked at Wembley before. That's our main goal.
Although there's always a competitive edge in training, is there concern about, obviously, with Solihull having 2 really competitive games, whereas you haven't? Is there a worry that might give them a slight advantage?
We definitely weighed it up because we knew last year's preparation included an in-house game. We're lucky enough to have a lot of strength and depth in this squad. We have got unique characters who are very professional but also very humble, which is very important to us, isn't it, as a coaching team and a football club. So we had trust in that we would get the right outcomes out of the game, and it helps when you've got that strength and depth, and also weighing up the huge amount of physical load that the guys had at the back end of the season, so that we peak at the right time. So we're really happy with how it's went, and we probably wouldn't change it.
No.
Do you think it'll start as favourites? I haven't had a look at the bookies to see what they think, but I mean, do you think, because they're a top team, and I mean they played brilliant here when you played them, and but it's got all the makings of a terrific cup final, hasn't it? Really, 2 top teams.
Yeah, I think the one thing that hopefully will be a just good advert for the National League in terms of 2 very good teams who like to play good football, who've obviously recruited well within their sort of structures. We both haven't got the biggest structures in the world in terms of the size of club and budgets, etc. So yeah, a lot of compliments to them. But I think ultimately, genuinely, I know it sounds stupid in a cup final, but probably the results are the least important thing for me at the moment. I know if we play well and we perform well, the results tend to follow. And I think after everything that's gone on, I think it's more a case of us as a club, Gateshead Football Club, showcasing what we are and why we've got to this point of the season, both being in a cup final and finishing in the playoffs. And it was quite tough for the lads to take, because obviously we've all watched the games, because you can't go this whole 11-month process and not watch the final, and obviously Bromley getting promoted. But it's just a case of us wanting to make sure that, well, not for us, but for the lads, that they get that recognition of what they've put in. And I think that was taken away from them, to be honest, a little bit, and that was the disappointing thing. Because we might have lost in the first game to Solihull, we might have got to Wembley, might have won it. We can't discuss that, it's an unknown, but I think the lads deserved at least the opportunity to perform at that level. And I think that was the disappointing thing for me. Not talking about politics of it all, but I think just for the group of players. And I like Louis just said there, as long as we go into the game with that mindset of just going to enjoy it, we're going to play the way we played all season, and obviously respecting our opponents. We're going to do a lot of work on them, make sure we're ready for them. But I think it would just be a great way to sign off with what has been an exceptional group, in all honesty.
How have you regrouped then? I mean, in terms of what have you actually done with the players? Is it just a year out of their lives? They've got finite careers, and what's happening could be hugely deflating, but you've also got this kind of great game at the end of it. What have you practically done to sort of reset minds?
We had a good night out, which was fun, which they deserved. But no, we took the lads out, didn't we? We took the lads out, went for dinner. Just had that take the stress off and just a bit of reflection. And ultimately, what was nice about that is we just liked spending time together. I genuinely love coming to work. It's a privilege for me to come in every day to spend time with these lads, and I know that dressing room is very unique. I've been involved in a lot of dressing rooms over the years, but that's a fantastic dressing room where people are genuinely who they want to be. There's no sort of falseness or pretense in terms of trying to be something you're not, and that's sort of probably the strength of this club more so than on the pitch. Off the pitch is that people come and feel comfortable to express who they are. But I think ultimately, every single player in the squad will, regardless of the outcome at the end of the season, has probably gone up tenfold in terms of their stature, in terms of the outside world and their footballing ability. And the nice thing is that I can honestly, in my hand and heart, look at that squad and say everyone's going in the right direction with their careers and with their development. And when you talk about controlling the controllables, that's all we can do. We can just make sure the lads keep developing, the team get better, the individuals keep improving on and off the pitch. And I think that's where we're at. We're in a really good place as a group, and just trying to enjoy it and relish it, because my biggest incentive to get promoted was that we keep this group together and no one leaves, and that was the incentive to get promoted.
And is there a sense of injustice, and can you channel that, do you think?
I think there is a little bit of sense of injustice, yeah, definitely, because ultimately it's controllables that we can't control, especially from a playing, coaching staff. But the only way you can channel it is by just getting over the next hurdle in front of you, and that's an FA Trophy final on Saturday, and still on a massive stage, the biggest stage in football, playing at Wembley, which is a huge honour for anyone to play at. I've had a good career and I never played at Wembley, so the lads need to enjoy that and respect the fact that they've worked so hard to get there. Not just whoever plays and the 11 that play, but the lads who have played in the build up to the games, in the earlier stages of the tournament. And I think all you can do in life is you can react to setbacks in one way or the other. You can let it affect you, and it takes away the power that you have as a person and as a footballer, or you can smash it head on and actually become stronger for it. And I think this group will definitely become stronger for the experience, regardless of how painful it might be in the instance.
And then I don't want to embarrass you, but you've done a absolutely phenomenal job, you and your staff. This isn't the job you were supposed to be doing at the start of the season.
No, it wasn't. No.
Can you sort of go back to that moment when you've got the job, and is this your life now? Is this what you're going to do and in the future?
In terms of the first moment we got the job, I was quite forceful in taking the job when I spoke to the club, because what was previously set up here with Mike, Ian, Louis, when we took the job, I should say, was because of the uniqueness of this group and the way we play. And I think the reason that I wanted to step up with Louis and Mags is because we didn't want that to be taken away from the group, because I think that's what makes the club special, in the way we play, the way we approach football, the way we approach life as a group. And then obviously, I think for myself personally, obviously I'm sure for Louis as well, is that we probably relished and enjoyed the role even more as time's gone on. And I think the setbacks that we've had in the 7 months in terms of trying to take over from previous people who've just done an incredible job and then trying to put our identity on it, then the amount of losses we had in terms of players with 2 long-term injuries, Tinks and Greg, and then 4 or 5 players leaving in one day. We the day before we played Chesterfield, we had 8 players available, and then to be able to maintain that, back ourselves in terms of bringing players in and maintain the level of football and probably kick on again from that point, is something I think, regardless of whether I stay in management or whatever happens going forward, is probably one of the most things I can definitely say I've been more proud of than anything else, because when you do something yourself, it's fantastic because you know the hard work you put in, but when you're able to bring a group of people together who can then do that themselves, it's probably the most proud I could probably be, because you can only help people, but then to see them take hold of it themselves and not allow outside situations affect them, genuinely was one of the most proud moments in football, and that wasn't equivalent to any game. That was just the overall feeling of this period.
Rob, have you surprised yourself how well you've done?
I've got to say yes, haven't I?
Well, but I've followed you all season, and your team just went like that. I mean, I've just been interviewing there when we were down at Barnet. Can you remember that?
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon. The football was just, they were second top, and you absolutely murdered them, and we were like, wow, what we got here, and you were the manager then.
Yeah, I think it hasn't surprised me in the fact the players that we've got. The one thing I would learn as a manager is you're only good as the players. Obviously, there's a lot more things that go into it than that, but ultimately, once Friday afternoon's finished, you can't control what's going to happen on a Saturday. And obviously, whether it's like Louis playing, for example, who's been an exceptional year, or any one of the lads that step on the pitch, it's always down to them. And I think that's the thing you've got to always. My learning is I've got to always remember that, because ultimately, regardless of how well the team's set up or how well we do or the goals we score, you can't put the ball in the back of the net. You can't get the lads to play with the bravery, and so I'm not surprised in the way the players have played. And at times, there's things we can definitely get better at, and I think hopefully going forward we will. But really pleased with how it's gone, I can say, because obviously there is another scenario where it completely backfired, and it's not a nice feeling, especially after the first 3 games. We lost the first 3, so but that just shows that if you're consistent, you stick to what you believe and you work hard, that the results will always come, and that's both on the management and the playing side.
Rob, how confident are you that you keep these players together? You talk about how important they have been in this journey, and how confident, given the uncertainties that are around the club and its future in terms of whether or not it can get promoted or play off football, that you can keep these guys together?
Yeah, no, really confident. Obviously, it helps with players being contracted, etc. I think the situation outside, obviously I can't speak on it massively in terms of understanding the ins and outs, but I think there's multiple solutions to that now. I think it's just now we have more time. I think it's going to be something that will be rectified. And I think the positives are that, building on to next season is that I think the players know that we can get a lot better, and ultimately we finished 6th, in my opinion, was because of circumstance rather than actual circumstance rather than performance, in terms of the fact that we had to play 5 games in 9 days at the end of the season, so 10% of our season went in the smallest space of time. We've obviously talked about the fact that we lost players for a big period of time, so 3 or 4 games we didn't even have a squad together properly, and I think I feel like I wouldn't say underachieved, but I feel like we hit the minimum that we was expecting. So I think there is more output there, and my challenge to the lads is, can they go one step further next year and really challenge as high as they possibly can all season. Now, that's an extremely ambitious target, but I think there's no point in doing it otherwise. There's going to be 12 other teams, I'd imagine at least, that are going to think the same way, but we've just got to make sure we concentrate on ourselves, and that's all we ever do. And I think the players have done so well because they bought into that.
Do you have any managerial mentors from your playing career? So people like Alan Pardew or others?
Yeah, I think there's a few people you reflect on when you've played under them, and you think about the good things that they've done, you think about the things that they've maybe not done so well, and you think, I don't want to make them same mistakes, because being as a player you get emotionally affected by it, and also in positives and negatives. But yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I couldn't really single out one particular person other than trying to take the best from each, because they all had some fantastic qualities. Chris Powell, for example, one of the best human beings I've ever been, the way he connected the group, because you cared about him so much, you wanted to play for him. You'd run through a brick wall for him. Alan Pardew and the targets he set, and the confidence he gave you. Rafa, in terms of his structure and shape, was obviously, everyone needs to know. No need to explain how good that was. And yeah, it's just reflecting on things, and at times, but I think ultimately allowing our personality to come through, because we can't mimic anyone else, because it never comes through as natural. So we'll just try and be who we are, and you do try and nick bits and pieces from everywhere else. Someone I speak to a lot, obviously for the last however long, Andy Woodman. Obviously, I spoke to him after the Bromley, after we played him last day, and he's been brilliant. I ring him every now and then, and he gives me bits of advice and stuff. And obviously we were a bit gutted we didn't get the opportunity to go toe to toe with them. Not saying we would have got through beating Solihull, but when you watch the final, it would have been brilliant to have that occasion from a personal point of view. But someone who's now been there and done it is a good person to lean on.
So people like you and Andy Woodman are proving the old adage about goalkeepers not making managers is completely rubbish. So
I know, yeah, I think there's 3 in the National League, isn't there? There's Kelvin Davis as well. Louis a goalie as well. He played. And you're now part of the GK Union.
You better score on them.
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, I think the goalkeeping sort of mentality has changed. You look at the top teams now, the goalkeepers start attacks. They're the biggest part of the in possession stuff, and obviously out of possession they're obviously really important in terms of the end part, trying to stop the goal. I think still probably you feel like second class citizens, and there's lots of jokes flying around the office and stuff, but it's just I think the biggest thing for me is that I've basically spent 20 years either standing behind a team watching structure and football, or I spent more time than I've wanted on the sidelines watching the game as well at the highest level. And I think I did my first coaching badges at 27, so I knew straight away I wanted to absorb as much as possible. I didn't think I'd be in this position, obviously with the role I did previously, but it's something I'm enjoying, and hopefully we give goalkeepers a good name, or at least do them some sort of justice.
No, well, I was chatting to Marcus before, and he was saying that he regards you, having played for a lot of managers in his fairly, he's still fairly young, but he's played for a lot of clubs, and he credited you and Mike as being very new school, modern managers that have really turned his career around by sort of treating, getting inside his head and treating him like a human being, really. So that's, what do you think you do that is different, that is modern?
I don't know. It's a hard one to talk about, really. I think probably it's more the fact that I think maybe when I was younger, it was more a case of, you had to better your opponent. You had to be, there's probably mental strength, it was more about mental strength, or they would call it mental strength there, as in you've got to be stronger, you've got to be this. Whereas I think now we understand that, there's a lot of our sort of different permutations in terms of the fact that what can affect someone's mentality to be the best they can. And ultimately, I think if you're upfront and honest and you just show your emotions and you show your care, I think players respond really well. Because Mike's strength was, he was very honest. He didn't care what people thought about him, and not in a bad way. He didn't care in the fact that you'd be honest and open about what he thought and why he thought it, but it was always for the right reasons, and it was always to do the best for that person, individual. And I think I just wanted to carry it on. My sort of thing is that I want to see the group succeed. I want to see individuals succeed. That gives me the most joy. If I see other people being successful and doing well, then I feel like that's probably the main part of the job. I'm probably not going to be a manager to be the best manager in the world. I've always said that. I don't really have that ambition inside me. But if I can see a group of young men who can fulfil their potential, or at least fulfil themselves on and off the pitch, then that's the stuff that really makes me excited about being in this sort of role.
That's great, thank you.
Rob, just a quick one. I mean, you said, the best manager, you'd be the best manager in Gateshead because the Gateshead fans think the fans have been brilliant this year, haven't they?
They've been brilliant, yeah. I think we obviously, the support at home's just got better and better towards the end of the season in terms of the numbers, and obviously the Bromley game was such a brilliant game in the build-up, and I thought the performance was one of the best second half that we've had,
especially
against such a strong team as well. And then the away support has just been, it's been a joke really. The travelling the fans have to do, it's been so good, and
because they're long travels, aren't they?
they're horrendously long.
It's a long way from Gateshead.
It is. It's a long way to Yeovil next year as well, and Forest Green and whatnot. If it's Forest Green, I haven't misspoke there, but I think the fans have been terrific, and obviously with everything going on, let's understand that it's not just affected the players, it's affected supporters who give so much to the club, and obviously the community. The club's such a community-based club, and I always say this: it doesn't matter how big your club is. A football club means as much to a die-hard supporter, whether you get 10,000 fans a week, 100,000 fans, or 1,000 fans. And I was privileged enough to play for my boyhood club in Charlton Athletic. And that probably gave me a good insight and understanding of what it means to represent a football club. And since even before I come, Louis and the boys, they really do. They take that to heart, and it's an important part of the process and why we do things. And it's so appreciated, because I think like the football club in terms of resources on the footballing side, and alongside with the fans, we don't have the most, we don't have the biggest, but it's loyal, and it's loyal and it's heartfelt, and it's something that's so appreciated, because when we've been away from home and you go over and you see 50, 60, 70, 80 people that have travelled all that way, spent their hard-earned money to watch us, it's a real privilege, and it's something I think the lads really respect and I think take to heart, that they're not just playing for themselves, but there's people that are paying their money to watch them play, and it's just all added to the season. So for the fans, with the disappointment at the end of the season, to get an opportunity to go and finish the season in the right way is the least that we can. It's the least we've hoped for, really.
And they'll be at Wembley, won't they?
That's exactly it. Yeah, be at Wembley, enjoy themselves, have a great day out, and be proud of a club to be not at Wembley once, but at Wembley twice, and finishing in the playoffs. I know it didn't go the way we want, but you can't ask much more from a group of players in terms of a return.
And sorry, just to kind of clarify, I mean, I know you've been asked and talked a lot about your kind of interim title, but you're talking a lot about next season. What you've been saying, you will be back and managing next season. Yeah,
that's what I'm planning for. I think, to be honest with you, it's not really something that we're too fussed about. I think like the uniqueness of this club is that we don't. Those sort of things, the players, we're sorting out their contracts this week and next week, because it's non-league, it's the end of the season sort of thing, and it's the same with us. We know there's more important things to worry about than who's in charge. I think everyone knows we're all very happy here and we love it here, and we think there's more to grow with the club and more to do. So when it comes to that side of things, it's not something that's ever been a priority, because it's not needed to be. I don't think anyone's in a rush to go anywhere. We just want to make sure, from our point of view, that the club's left in the best position at the end of the season and moving into next year. We know looking forward that we're going to be better again, because that's pretty much what the club's done so well over the last few years. It's just got stronger and stronger.
You kind of mentioned that you never got a chance to play at Wembley yourself, despite kind of playing at the highest level. How much would leading Gateshead to kind of have a cup win at Wembley rank in terms of achievements in your professional career? Yeah,
no, it'd be amazing. I think it's not something you really think about happening. Obviously, when we first took over at the start of the season, it's like, it wasn't really a target, let's win the trophy and let's do everything. It was just taking it one game at a time, obviously dealing with everything you deal with. Sometimes the game on a Saturday gets put to the back burner in a weird way, because there's so many things that come up. Hence why you can understand why managers, it is stressful and it is hard work, but it's hard work that's enjoyable, especially at a place like this. So do you know what, it'll be really nice. I think it's, for me personally, it's more of an important reward for the people that have excuse me, guys. Look, I've got a bit of a chest infection. I think it's more of a reward for the people that have, for me personally, my wife, my children, my mum, and all the friends and family that supported me along the way and helped when they got them late nights, them long days, the travels. I know for yourself, for your family, it'll be a case that it's for me, it's a lovely reward for them. And I think what will be special for me is walking out with my 3 kids. I don't think that's I don't think that's anything I could ever envisage, but it'll be memories for them for a lifetime that we can always look back on, and yeah, I know we've had that time together and makes up for them little bits of time that I maybe wasn't at home as much as I should have been.
Yeah. Also on that, I would just say, I think what will be satisfying for me, Rob, Colin, the rest of the coaching team, will be watching them players who are essentially, an extension of our philosophy and our culture and how we've wanted the guys to attack games of football, how we've played. Most importantly, potentially what the fans or maybe what the outside world don't see is what Rob's referred to in terms of making sure that there's X amount of human beings that actually feel comfortable in their own skin, who can come to a safe space, enjoy themselves, develop, which is huge in relation to, we talk about the playoffs and not achieving the playoffs and how disappointed it is. Well, that's in one way a very outcome related perspective in terms of if you haven't got the playoffs, how disappointed are you? Well, what has been potentially lost in that conversation is the development of the players, the development of the staff, the development of the group, which is actually potentially the core and fundamental of this football club. Because of that long process that's taken place, we are now benefiting from players excelling and being the best version of themselves, and that then allows this team, this group, this club to actually desire the goal of promotion and to win a trophy. So, watching the players go out and watching the players attack the game and seeing an extension of what we believe, and watching some human beings hope have a smile on their face, hope have a little bit of a joke between them, see them enjoy themselves and be the best version of themselves, that will be something that will definitely hold dear, and I'm actually really looking forward to be honest with you.
Just kind of touching on that, kind of this club can go, say we do, and on Saturday you get that one that you so desperately want.
Well, I think the club can go to the next step, which is, last season, well, 2 seasons ago we got promoted. Last season we adapted to the league, and then we had almost a second season within a season and achieved the cup final, and then we've stepped that on again by going to the cup final again, and hopefully can better that once more, and the playoffs. Rob's 100% spot on in the fact that for us, the playoffs probably wasn't enough because we were so confident going into it, and I think if you look at our form in the last, probably the second half of the season, I think we're up there in terms of maybe second and third of points return. So the mentality will be that we want to go one step again, and that will be transcending. That has also been the conversation with the players. We've been so open and honest about our feelings. A lot of the players were very disappointed in the first week once we couldn't play on the Wednesday. As a staff and personally, I was pretty positive and staying quite confident in the fact that something would happen, or that we would take that momentum into the cup final. And then the games happened, and I said to the boys, and I remember messaging Rob. Rob messaged me as I was about to message him, saying I'm really gutted, and I felt a bit rock bottom when the semi-finals were taking place. But again, going back to that wider perspective of we've got players here who come and actually develop and get closer to fulfilling their potential, and they do that on the journey with the staff and with the football club. So that will be the conversation to better last season, win the trophy, to go into the off season, enjoying themselves and coming back and just go to the next step and go to the next level, because there's a lot of players, and us as a coaching team definitely feel Gateshead is the best place to get to the next level and to be a football league club and to be a coaching team in the football league, or to be a player in the football league. So that'll be the aim.
That's a really good point. So I'll add on to that. I think if we look at the players that have come in this season and then developed and playing league football now, that's another thing we're always really proud of. We don't just look at being selfish as a club. We understand that with our resources we can only offer opportunities, and hopefully the lads, we develop them, they get better, they take the club higher if they move on, like we've seen with a few players this year, which is fantastic to see from our point of view, whether they've been on loan or whether they've been our players. They leave, they level, they bring the club up with them, and then when they go, you know, we back ourselves in terms of finding other players that can come in and carry on that momentum. And yeah, Louis spot on with what he's saying, and I think it's also a reflection of the fact that, you know, sometimes we could be selfish, some clubs would be selfish and not allow the likes of Stephen Wern to go, for example, if you use Werney as an example. But we know that we offer something unique, and we have to make sure that we develop everyone in the right way, even if it sometimes hurts a little bit at the time, because then you get the next person through the door who, you know, looks at that journey and goes, right, well, this is the best place for me. And that's ultimately what we'll be selling in the off season when we look to improve, is that, you know, one way or the other, as a team we want to be fighting at the top end of the table, but also as a person, as a player, this will be the best step to try and kick on again.